Thank you. My fellow senators, thank you for your support. Thank you for your encouragement. Thank you for your spirited engagement and active participation in our democracy. To the Secretary of the Senate and your team, the legislative, fiscal, revenue, legislative administration, policy, research, and council staff, the state police, the CAMS, facilities and visitors staff, the committee staff, and our Senate staff. Thank you for your service to the people of Oregon. Thank you for your shared love of our state and our Oregon Senate. And to my parents, my siblings and their partners and children, my incredible wife, Lori, thank you for making my public service possible. It was the summer of 1979. I was 6 years old. My parents decided that I should see Oregon the way it was meant to be seen. They spent weeks drying pears and homemade beef jerky and getting backpacks ready to spend a week in the mountains on the trail in the Wallowas to the Eagle Cap Wilderness. We arrived at the East Lostine River on a beautiful late morning. In my small knapsack, I carried a teddy bear and some sugar lemon drops and trail mix with extra M&Ms, while my parents carried propane tanks and all the tents and the bulky old sleeping bags and every morsel of food. The trail itself in Senator Hansel's district starts at a mile high, and it ascends into the mountains. It's 13.2 miles round trip and has an elevation gain of 2,200 feet, most of which you climb in the first 3 miles up about 20 switchbacks on your way to the most incredible field of wildflowers, lupin and paintbrush and balsam root. We started out, and I made it to almost the second switchback, and I looked up at my mom and dad and said, "Are we there yet?" And out popped the sugar lemon drops to stuff one in my mouth. My knapsack went on top of my dad's backpack until we made the next switchback. "Mom, are we there yet? Are we there yet?" 20 years later, in 1999, I found myself on another of my favorite walks, this one of my own volition. It was after I'd served as a staffer in the Oregon Legislature, and I was studying at George Washington University in DC. I didn't have a car, so I walked a lot. My favorite walk was then and is always through the cherry blossoms around the reflecting pool. Always starting from the Lincoln Memorial, I am reminded of his first inaugural, in which Lincoln, reflecting on the Constitution's promise that we make not the perfect union, but a more perfect union, one constantly in the process of forming and evolving and becoming. Are we there yet? It's 20 years later. Now my children have been subject to all these treks up Oregon's majestic mountains multiple times. I still carry the M&Ms. We've also done that DC Memorial Walk together as a family from Lincoln past FDR and Jefferson and now to the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial. There, one of my favorite lines from a speech that Dr. King delivered at the National Cathedral 5 days before his death. Engraved in marble, his words, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice." Are we there yet? Here in Oregon today, as we gather to organize the Senate and the 82nd Legislative Assembly, we should reflect on the work we've been sent to do on behalf of our constituents and all Oregonians. Every one of our constituents has a unique story, and each with their own reason to love this divine state. Right here, in this room, your story. Your story might be the story of family members who fell in love at a soda fountain in Athena, or a family that can trace back to the Oregon Trail, or building a small business, or your own story of coming to Oregon as an adult, as a career in healthcare, or as a teacher on the coast or at an urban community college, of your children's education and exposure to a different life from California or beyond, or the natural beauty of this place, or as a refugee fleeing violence from the Horn of Africa. Each of us with our own distinct perspective, but the same mission: to serve, to tackle tough problems facing Oregon families: housing and education and healthcare, jobs and infrastructure, public safety and caring for our most vulnerable, and equitable opportunity for all. There will be very few guarantees over the next several months. In our committees and on this floor, there will be bills and policies and budgets, and in the vast majority of times, we will largely agree in our names in green lights. And there will be times when we have fierce debate and disagreement. Let us give each other grace. Let us assume the best intentions for each other. Let us lead with ideas and innovation, and let us lead with kindness and charity and goodwill. Let us remember that it is an honor of a lifetime to serve the people of Oregon. Let us hike that trail with all its switchbacks to form a more perfect union, to bend the arc of the moral universe toward justice. Mom, Dad, we aren't there yet, but we're on our way. Thank you. Now continuing under the provisions of the report of the Committee on Permanent Organization and Order of Business, I will now appoint a special Rules Committee to meet briefly and report back to the Senate. The following senators are appointed to the Special Rules Committee: Senator Kate Lieber, Chair; Senator Tim Knopp, Vice Chair; Senator Bill Hansel; Senator James Ivory Manning, Jr., Senator Elizabeth Steiner. The Senate will be at ease while the Special Committee meets.